Hi everyone, my name is Adali Parks and welcome to Todos Santos. So today I'm going to start with this podcast with a very interesting person. Probably you already heard about it, and his name is Patrick Coffman. So Patrick, thank you. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I am in fact in the flesh Patrick Coffman. I work and live here in Todos Santos and do architectural design. That's me.
Why Todos Santos, Patrick?
Years and years ago, like in 1989, we arrived in Todos Santos, liked it a whole lot, and it took us all of about 4 days to buy a house. So here we have been for darn near 35 years, and we just keep working, and it's a great place to be. I can't think of any place else I'd rather go to improve the situation. It's just great here.
You have no idea how many people ask me when they walk into my house. They got like a very surprised about the combination of materials and the design and the high ceilings. They always wondering, who is Patrick Coffman? I want him to design my house. So how do you get into designing homes?
My education isn't in architecture, but the fine art aspect of a person's sensibilities translates really well into architecture. And so here I am mixing materials and making things not just to look at in a museum, but artwork to live in.
Beautiful. So like I said before, your homes incorporate, for me, three things. Big fireplaces, big mantles, stunning big fireplaces in concrete and brick. Other thing is the high ceilings and the light. Light and high ceilings, I think, make a beautiful combination. My house is called Casa Girasol because it has light, has air, and it has this beautiful design that inviting to be in.
Wow, so many compliments. Wow.
It is a lot of compliments, but how are you inspired to build on these elements and create something different and new for each customer?
We have a choice. We, as human beings floating around in the world, we can be out in the natural environment and look for something that we like and look for something where we're comfortable. And then the other side of all the choosing you get to do as a person is in the built environment. So my idea is to bring all of those elements that you enjoyed in the natural environment and try and include as many as you can in the built environment. So there you're back to light, air, the volume that you choose to be in and not trapped by, because generally you don't ever feel trapped in the natural environment, and I sure don't want to feel trapped in a house. Here, it was the local vernacular and historical architecture was a huge impact on me. So I took it on myself to make the translation and incorporate all the things that we found in the vernacular here into the work that I could do. When we were first looking at the house that we ended up buying, it had a palapa roof. And that staggered me because it's not a small house and it wasn't an inexpensive house. And I'm thinking to myself, how does this work? We have a house like this, and it's got a roof made out of palm leaves. I went through that one and started looking around as to how that material was the natural resource here and how well it worked. So it ended up for me that I put a lot of palapa roofs on my projects. But it staggered me to begin with.
Yes. What are your challenges as a designer or builder, because you build as well?
No matter where you find yourself, is finding good people to actually do the building. A good contractor with a good crew, that's the critical thing. In order to get done what you imagine, you need people to really understand. People that aren't from the school of last Tuesday, as builders. People that have experience with Adobe. The critical thing is to find a clay soil deposit, really sticky, strong clay soil, and sand, good clean sand, that's the mix. It's mostly sand. It's about 60-70% sand and 30-40% this clay soil. And to make it stable for to resist moisture, we put a little bit of cement in it.
This is a challenge for me when I'm trying to describe your style to the construction that you do, the design.
I would have to say that for the most part, it's based on Spanish colonial foundation with some newer, more contemporary interpretations, like changing the windows and changing the doors, but it really doesn't change that much. You know, there are arches in windows and doors, and by the time you've got it all down on a piece of paper or you've got it all built, oh, look at that. There's another one that I did. Architects generally, if they become identified, it's because they create their own style.
When we go around as a realtors, you know, my colleagues and I, we always already said, that's Patrick Coffman house. That's Patrick Coffman house.
You recognize it,
of
right?
course, right away.
Yeah.
We notice that you're still working in the traditional way by drawing, making your drawings by hand and your calculations by hand and everything. How you manage to do that?
I look at the people who do the CAD design, the computer design work, and I say, how do they do it? Because what I know is to draw. It seems hard and cold to me. I don't see the mix. You know, I don't see the humanity. I don't see the life in it. I see lots and lots of projects that look like they were brought down on a truck from San Diego and plunked on a lot, rather than somebody who lets Mexico and tradition and local style soak in first and then reflect it into some work. But I have to say, when I hand my drawings like to an engineer, they sometimes give me a little grief, like, well, I'm going to have to put all this into CAD. That's a lot of work. Well, yeah, that's what you're going to have to do, because I draw everything. And the line weight and the shading and the perspectives and stuff that help me see what I'm doing, that's what I'm able to give somebody else. I can't do it with a computer.
Last question.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
2025 from now on, how you will describe the architecturic environment in Todos Santos?
The percentage of people who let themselves be affected by finding themselves in a new environment, a new culture, a new vernacular of architecture is always a little smaller. Mm-hmm. Because many people want to get on with their life, and as long as they have four walls and a couple of windows and a couple of doors, that part of their life is done. But the people who really look into how they want to live inside of a residence, it's a smaller part. And usually, like you say, you drive around and you see houses that are a little bit more interesting, and people say, well, who did that? I want one of those. So those people will find me, and the other people will bring what they need down on a truck and dump it off, and they'll be okay because they don't have the requirement. Right. So the percentages, like how will it change? I don't think it'll change much. You know, there'll always be the two groups, and they'll look for what they need. They'll be able to speak a language that they already know, and then some of those people will say, I think I want to learn a new language. And they may come looking for me. Who knows?
Yeah, of course. Like I did.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, not really. I get a little concerned, you know, about things getting a little overrun, like the infrastructure in Todos Santos, getting a little overrun. That makes me a little nervous. But hopefully in La Paz, the right kind of people will take into account what we need to have here to support a growing population, a fast-growing population. And I'm not going to get into making any comments about politics, except for the fact that in the United States, I can sure understand why people are going to, start thinking about moving to Mexico. Right. And that's it for politics for me.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I'm done.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. It's a pleasure always.